broadcast with me, Elita Draconia Draconia. And little Lady Napsalo here, and little Starlight here as well. Now let's just make sure we are broadcasting. Yep, there I am. Good. Should update. Yeah, there we go. Right, so we're going to be doing some occult crescent. Occult reunion. The expedition messenger wishes to speak with you. Funny you should show up now. I was just about to go over my expedition report. With all that's happened, it's turned up into quite the yarn, but perhaps you'll be willing to take a listen. Right, here goes. Plotting an eastward course from High Tide Harbour, Catamaran and his veteran crew set forth for Shade's Triangle, resolved to uncover the mysteries of that treacherous stretch of ocean. After days of steady sailing, they at last laid eyes on the occult crescent, but something strange was afoot. The isle shifted and shimmered like a mirage, confounding all attempts at approach. Just as the crew began to despair, an unknown force seized the ship, guiding it towards the island. According to daring adventurer and valued expeditioner member Elita, this occurred moments after a strange voice rang out in her mind. Though it remains unclear, it is plausible this mystery speaker and the ship's steering force are somehow linked. Once ashore, the crew entered the Phantom Village. Here, in one of its long-abandoned structures, they made a startling discovery. A wizened but welcome old fella called the Archive, seemingly afflicted with the Tomberry curse. Learning of Catamaran's plans, the Archive readily offered his expertise. Yet it soon became apparent that his expertise had been sealed away, the only means of recall being to hear what the adventurer saw and learned during her excursions. The mystery deepened further when Iris, a tiny familiar likely summoned by the Isle's shadowy architect, appeared out of nowhere, prompting many questions but providing few answers. For now she seems content to observe the expedition from a distance. As the crew explored more of these strange shores, a picture of the Isle's true purpose began to take shape. By all accounts, it appears to be a repository for knowledge and monuments from the 5th Astral Era. To keep these precious relics safe, the occult crescent is surrounded by a magical ward separating it from the outside world. Similar magics are also believed to prevent the expedition's vessel leaving port. Among the island's ruins stand two spires, the Tower of Blood on the south horn, and its northern counterpart, the Tower of Magic. While both are considered key to unravelling the Isle's secrets, the latter is which the occult crescent's architect is sought to reside. An island-wide ward keeping knowledge within and interlopers without. A mysterious entity capable of wielding such magics. What will transpire when their true identity is unveiled? Or something along those lines. Does that sound right to you? Huzzah! Thanks for listening. I'm sure there'll be plenty more to write about before this expedition ends. I can't help but worry about the crew though. Say, why don't you go and pay them a visit? No doubt you'll be needed back on the Isle sooner rather than later. Excellent. I presume you'll be using the ethereal current like you usually do. Give old Ketmaran my regards when you arrive. Will do. Head back to the Phantom Village and see how old Ketmaran's faring, would you? Do, 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 do. As an etheric artisan, I am curious to see what the weaponsmith achieves with my gifts. Thus I shall remain a while longer, despite no longer being bound by our pact. Under no illusion. Livier Seal has something to discuss with you. Perfect timing! Been meaning to have a word with you. I'm guessing you remember Geralt's plan to combine his modern methods with the ancient knowledge he's uncovered. Well, it sounds like he needs to examine that phantom weapon of yours. Would you mind obliging? Neither elsewhere, no skin off my nose. Sounds like Geralt can't make any headway until he sees your weapon. Make sure you show him sharpest. Assuming you just sit. I am also curious as to the current state of your weapon. I'll be straight with you, lass. I'm worried about your phantom weapon. Part of me hopes it's just the rum talking, but I'll need to take a gander either way. Go on, stow it away, I've seen enough. Just as predicted, eh? Indeed, I'm afraid the weapon is, in a sense, defective. To think that Isle's ether could deceive even my superlative perception. A potent force indeed. That it may be, but now we know the plan will work. Hold on, I'm struggling to keep up. Fair enough, perhaps you could all do with a reminder. Do you remember what we've done to your phantom weapon so far? I believe you've infused it with Isle's elusive energies. Exactly, and just like those energies, your weapon's a shifting, intangible phantom. In short, the ether permeating this isle is teeming with illusory properties, and highly potent to boot. It's what gives your weapon its frightening power. Of course, that power needn't stabilizing, which is why we turned to ancient methods to keep the ether from dissipating. I thought that had done the trick, but apparently not. Perhaps there is some flaw in the process. It would appear so. While the Isle's ether greatly elevated the weapon's capabilities, its volatile nature is limiting the potential for further enhancement. We were able to verify as much by examining the adventurer's weapon earlier. So you're saying there's more power to wring out with the thing, but we just can't get to it? can't get to it yet. Hence me grand plan. To counteract the phantasmal energy infused in the weapon, reveal its innate form, and unleash its true potential. A perfectly logical approach, but is such a thing plausible? For a smith of me peerless talent, it is, and worthy of a little praise, I'd say. If you all want the details, you have to congratulate me on the brilliant planning before I crack open another bottle of rum and forget about it. That look. I've become rather invested in this phantom web of yours. I shall continue to lend my aid. I'm impressed Geralt figured out what was wrong with your weapon. No doubt this will inflate his ego even further. Don't just stand there gawking, lass. Congratulate me on inspired thinking. Else I'll raid the rum supply and forget about the whole bleeding thing. Basking in your admiration's thirsty work. Might crack open the rum after all. Only joking. The truth is, I'm itching to get started. Those phantasmal energies I mentioned have bound your weapon in a complex illusion, preventing it from truly shining. By stripping that illusion away and revealing the true essence of the weapon, we solve the problem. Stripping the illusion away? Like using a glamour dispeller to remove the projected appearance of arms and armor? That might be feasible with the right apparatus. Now you're talking! The best part is what we've already got. Just the thing for the job, ain't that right? Didn't the archive recently fillet a glamoured fish? Exactly! When the archive cut into his catch with that rusty old knife, the glamour was dispelled and the bleeding thing shrank. That blade's the key. Thankfully, the little fella let me borrow it for a while. Just as expected, the blade's imbued with unique dispelling magics. All told, it's quite the relic in its own right. And you reckon we can use it to cut through the illusion surrounding the phantom weapon? Aye, but the Isle's ether is vexing stuff. Nothing short of the most potent dispelling magic will suffice. Which is why we'll need to enhance the blade first. Sounds eminently logical to me. There aren't many who'd even consider ravaging one of the realm's greatest weapons with a magical old blade, that's for sure. Then again, most lack me capacity for innovation. Any road, we'll need to hone the blade to boost its dispelling properties. Don't mind what we use so long as it's top quality kit. If it's blade sharpening supplies we're after, I've heard nothing but the highest praise for monarch whetstones. They ought to sell them at Bayside Bevy. Ancestral ally ingots. A scented wine and majestic polish likewise command a good reputation. A skilled artisan should be more than capable of crafting them, though I'm sure they can also be purchased with sufficient gil. Seeing as how the rest of us are stuck on this bastard rock, this falls to you again, lass. Hand over the goods when you're ready. Leave it to me. Some of the items Geralt's require can be obtained in the following locations: monarch weapons in the markets of Tulliola, ancestral ally ingots, spools of antecessor twine, and bottles of majestic polish can be crafted via the crafting log using the relevant master's recipe tomes of Disciples of the Hand. Details of obtaining each are noted in your journal. We're counting on you to gather all 4 components for honing the blade. Hate to stand around twiddling me thumbs, but while you're out there traipsing about, but there ain't much I can do. Good luck with your search. I look forward to seeing that humble blade enjoy a new lease on life. Perhaps this transformation will rival my own. Ah, there we are, monarch whetstone. Ancestral alloy. dense aluminium, rose garnet, harmonite, silver. What do we get dense aluminium for? Ah, pretty cheap. Back to ground. I look forward to seeing that Humbleblade enjoy a new lease of life. Perhaps its transformation will rival my own. Hate to stand around twiddling my thumbs when there's traipsing about, but ain't much else I can do. Good luck with your search. Alright, I got them already. We're counting on you to gather all 4 components for honing the blade. An exquisite whetstone essential for honing the Archive's Phantom Dispelling Blade. An ingot of rare alloy necessary for honing the Archive's Phantom Dispelling Blade. Durable fine spun twine required to improve the Archive's Phantom Dispelling Blade. An abrasive paste needed to buff the Archive's Phantom Dispelling Blade to a glowing sheen. Cracking work. Time to get that knife honed to perfection. Though I think I'll have a quick snifter of rum to help me concentrate. Don't want to mess this up. Girding one's loins before an important ritual is a natural impulse. I dare say you yourself feast on the eve of battle, yes? Not sure why Geralt's having a tipple at this juncture. Then again, I don't share his passion for rum. The wonders a drop of rum will do. Me mind's clear and me hands are steady. Here goes. Some of me finest work to date, razor sharp and overflowing with ether. With the blade honed to perfection, we can get to work on those dispelling magics. Let's keep up with the pace, eh? We've got illusions to dispel. Though the knife appears unchanged, I can assure the transformation within has been remarkable. Leather seal is in deep thought. Phantoms to fillet. You mentioned the knife's dispelling magics, but how are we supposed to go about improving them? The concept's simple enough. You take a dispeller of some form and imbue the blade with it. A knife as perfectly honed as ours will absorb a fair few dispellers' mind. Trouble is, your average glamour dispeller ain't fit for the task. We'll need a much stronger catalyst. In that case, I suggest we utilize specialist prisms known as phantom dispellers. They ought to meet your exacting requirements. I've never heard tale of such catalysts. How might they be obtained? They are found in places suffused with ether, sites of intense battle to be specific. In truth, these phantom dispellers will have manifested unseen at many of the battlefields you have fought upon, thanks to your tenure on this isle. However, they will be henceforth be detectable. Given the multi-layered nature of your weapon's illusory endowment, my advice is to collect several varieties. A selection of phantom dispellers, alpha, beta and gamma, should suffice. As ever, I am loath to burden you so, but I fear your talents make you the prime candidate for this endeavour. That's the spirit. I reckon 100 of those dispellers apiece will be plenty. And I really do mean it this time. I won't have you scurrying out there for extra dispellers once you're back. The mission to dispel your phantom weapon's illusion magic and thus unleash its true potential has begun in earnest. To begin, you must heighten the dispelling capabilities of the archivist's knife. The 3 variety of phantom dispellers necessary for this process can be obtained from fates and critical encounters in the Occult Presence North Forum. Please note that these dispellers cannot be obtained from the Fork Tower Blood or the Fork Tower Magic. Phantom dispellers are also obtainable by completing certain duties via the duty roulette. Details about applicable duties are noted in your journal. Please note that the current quest, Phantoms to Fillet, cannot be abandoned via the journal. Should you wish to do so, talk to Leadersteel. If you've urgent business elsewhere, just say the word. Bridget gives the archive a run for his money when it comes to worldly knowledge. I'm guessing there's plenty to be learned about illusions and whatnot in the void. All them sneaky, deceiving voids out running about. Feel free to praise my stunning intellect and ravishing beauty as much as you like. As I said, I'll be needing those 3 varieties of Phantom Dispeller Bridget mentioned. 100 each shall do the trick. So you get higher level dungeons, trials and normal raids. But we want to explore the Phantom Isle anyway, so it's best we go down that route just now. Ah, good to see you, Elita. Don't blame the fella for feeling concerned, but morale is high despite us being trapped here. And I've got good news besides. We've finally cleared a route to the north. It took some doing, mind, scrambling across sheer cliffs, battling upstream through raging rapids, and wending our way through gloomy caves until we finally reached a basin of sorts. We soon set up camping among the ruins, then set to work establishing a path back here. Any road, how about we get straight to the North Horn? With you back in the fold, we can get straight to work. Good. I'll let the archive know. We'll be waiting over yonder by Jeffrey.
Unfortunately, the seal on my knowledge remains largely intact. Now that my eyes and ears are back, I look forward to chipping away at it with renewed vigor.
Thanks to a few hastily constructed bridges and rope ladders, it's a fairly quick trip to the North Horn. Not that I'd call it the safest of routes. With the northern base camp up and running, we're ready to proceed at a moment's notice. That said, the usual precautions apply. We're better off sticking together en route.
I've not journeyed up to the North Horn since emerging from the sarcophagus. I wonder what curiosities await. I shall join you. Oh, a change of heart. Or perhaps new orders to help us. I will simply be observing your companion.
Well, I suppose she has been keeping an eye on us the whole time. Well, don't see any harm in her tagging along. Right, when you're ready to depart, just say the word.
You were guided to this isle.
see that my initial segment of unfamiliar still stands. What in the world's that irksome little rascal thinking? Speak with Jeffra when you're ready to make for North Horn. We can talk more when we get to the base camp. Ooh. Ooh. The warrior of love. Mythic idol found at the depths of the crystallized caverns. Creature's fragile ceramic form relies on enduring strength. The magical runes upon its torso allow it to summon minions and arcane artifacts in battles, making it a challenging, unpredictable foe. Details regarding the mythic idol's creation have always been shrouded in mystery. Reports indicate that even the people of Scalia, who often utilize such constructs, were unaware of their provenance. Given that Urbania has long been a hub for trade with the East, there is every likelihood that the underlying technology was developed in foreign lands and deliberately kept secret. Black Chocobo. Black-feathered chocobos capable of flight are the culmination of a lengthy selective breeding process, and are seldom encountered in the wild. The occult crescent, however, is home to a sizable population that seem to thrive, despite the numerous fiends roaming the isle. Whether they are escaped stable chocobos from the mainland or were brought here intentionally remains unclear. Thankfully, I managed to procure a great many foodstuffs during their tenure in the Southhorn. I wonder if these lands will prove as hospitable. spare soul shards weighing down your pack, I'll happily take them off your hands. You'll be compensated, of course. Try it on. Save. Let's see what puts right first. Oh, that's a new outfit, huh? Ranger, black mage, white mage, red mage. What's that? Oh, a minion. Dungeon. New items. Ooh, that's cute. I like that. I'll be closely monitoring the Isle's climatic fluctuations. Perhaps you'd like to know whether to expect rain, shine, or something more esoteric. Unfortunately, I've been unable to pinpoint the specific atmospheric conditions that lead to what I've dubbed auroral mirages, as I can't offer as precise predictions regarding their timing. Ah. Northhorn Base Camp has been added to the cult record. The expedition has claimed a ruined fortress for its base of operations on the north horn of the occult crescent. In addition to an existing occult aetherite, this convenient stronghold also provides elevated vantage point from which to survey the surroundings and detect the approach of potential threats. Despite the camp's ideal location, however, the North Basin environs are even more inhospitable than the south, and the advance party has been advised to consider immediate withdrawal should they face any dangerously abnormal phenomena. Keen to learn more about the Isle? Alright, it's just... If you find yourself beset by multiple fiends, retreat and save your skin. On isles dangerous as this, acts of heroism are a fine way to get oneself killed. Leave base security to me and the crew. No need to worry while you're out there fighting fiends and whatnot. What will you see in these strange lands?
Hemmed in by imposing peaks on all sides, this region appears to be isolated from the rest of the island.
The North Horn beckons. Catamaran has much to discuss with you. Our goals here are twofold. Uncover the truth of the occult crescent, and ensure the crew makes it home in one piece. Now, I reckon finding the Isle's architect is key to achieving both, given that he's probably holed up in the Tower of Magic. Finding a way in should be our first order of business. According to our scouts, the fiends in this part of the island are a darn sight tougher than the beasties we've encountered so far. So if you find yourself struggling, you'd best head to the South Horn for a spot of training. I should also mention the surveyors have turned up some interesting new trinkets. Speak with the crew if that tickles your fancy. Oh, and don't forget to attune with the camp's etherite while you're here.
My friend, I wish to have a quick word with you. Let me know once you've completed your preparations.
You best get prepared, there's no telling what's waiting for us outside camp.
This etherite won't provide passage to the South Horn. I was hoping we could discuss the soul shards. You know, those crystalline records of martial methods conceived by the 12 city-states of Eld. As you no doubt recall, I posited they would only function upon the Isle itself. Was my hypothesis correct? Part of me had wondered whether you in particular might be able to wield the shard's power beyond the board. Evidently not. In truth, I've also been pondering the reason you were summoned here in the first place. If the voice you heard belongs to the island's architect, then seeking him out in the Tower of Magic ought to provide answers on that front too. In other words, the time has come to venture forth once more. I trust you've affixed a soul shard to your person. They won't do a thing languishing in the bottom of your bag. Knowledge itself is neutral. The concepts of good and evil only exist in the heart of man. Confluence Conundrum. Catamaran is ready and raring to explore. Back on the South Horn, the only way into the Fort Tower is by way of the ethereal node that appeared during those auroral mirages. Assuming a similar node exists on this part of the island, we ought to look for the structure housing it. If my hunch is correct, there'll be a confluence connected to the tower nearby, so keep your eyes peeled. I'll also be taking a look around myself. Get in touch with me via Link Pearl if you find anything.
The isle is hidden from the outside world, and the towers are hidden from the rest of the isle. To warrant such stringent precautions, the knowledge contained therein must be unimaginably dangerous. You and your companions cannot see the towers under normal conditions. This is cool. I love the bookcase things. A mystical, magical area. Part of me just trying to figure out where I am, what I'm doing, and how best to proceed. While this does appear to be a confluence, the flow of ether is barely perceptible. Regardless of whether this location is actually linked to the Tower of Magic or not, Captain Moran will wish to hear your findings.
Well, it's definitely a confluence. And this structure is almost identical to the one on South Horn. I think it's safe to say this is where the ethereal node ought to be. But something's not quite right. I'm not sure if Arcane Twicker is to blame, but this pavilion's completely inert right now. No point in us pondering out here though. Let's head back to camp and see if we can't chip away at the archive seal some more. I'm guessing the archive still relies on what you've seen and heard to unlock his knowledge. Let's give it a try, shall we?
Found the pavilion, did you? Catamaran tells me you found a confluence by the pavilion. Pray, share more details. Judging by your account, I believe the confluence does indeed connect with the Tower of Magic. Ah, and there goes the familiar sensation of the seal eroding.
Any idea as to why we can't use the ethereal node?
Several, but let me first touch upon the fork towers themselves. Over 1500 years ago, the island's architect foresaw a calamitous disaster, and thus sought to preserve a facet of all civilization here on the Cult Crescent.
but to do so would mean storing the very knowledge that imperiled the world in such a single location. Measures to prevent its misuse would be essential. Hence the ward and the storms in the Shades Triangle. Precisely! And it is the Fork Towers that form the backbone of this approach. The Tower of Blood to project those deadly storms, and the Tower of Magic to maintain that impenetrable ward. Both undertakings require highly advanced techniques and a near constant monitoring, which is why the towers are manned. As I've said before, I believe it is the architect himself who resides in the Tower of Magic. So the towers are both conduits for all that magic, and humble abodes for the overseers. Seems like a lot of bother just to keep one tiny island hidden from prying eyes. Even prying eyes don't deserve to be trapped against their will. So that's your belief. Either way, the Tower of Magic is the focal point of the ward. All the Isle's ethereal currents converge upon it. If the confluence you discovered isn't so greatly diminished, we must assume all is not well with the island's ether. Thus begins our next investigation. The Fork Towers are the largest structures on the island. As such, they also store the lion's share of knowledge and relics. The towers may have helped shape the occult crescent as we know it, but that's not the whole story. Ethereal oddities. Catamaran is considering your next steps. So, the Isle's ethereal currents are in disarray. Come to think of it, the landscape here is completely different to what we saw down in the south. It feels warped, unnatural even. We ought to investigate what caused those changes. And I suggest we start by surveying multiple confluences. That should give us a clearer picture on what's happening, at the ethereal level. I have a mind to accompany you on your excursion. That way I can immediately share what the seals undo and reveals at each site. No need to pay me heed though. In the interest of avoiding my untimely demise at the hands of some fell fiend, I shall follow stealthily at a safe distance. In that case, I'll stay put. I suggest you concentrate your search on the ruins in the area and check for any abnormalities. Judging by our scouts' reports, the ambient ether is densest around the ruins. Methinks they'll be your best bet for finding any confluences. I've no idea why, but I've become rather adept at skulking through the shadows since being afflicted thus. You shan't even know I'm following you. I think I shall join you too. Right, okay, so there is several areas that we need to visit.
not even the ravages of time can dim the allure of Nemean ingenuity. Of course, the Neme of my time was not so unconcerned with brevity. This strange floating aspect was not an inherent feature of the city, though having examined the confluence, the underlying phenomenon is clear. Excess wind energies have weakened the bonds between building and ground, creating the landscape you see before you. Intriguingly, this result seems to somewhat intentional, but that hardly aligns with the goal of accurately preserving the 5th Astral Heaver history. Alas, there's not much else to glean from this confluence. Let's seek out the other ruins. Damn, this is scary. This sprawling structure bears all the hallmarks of Skallic craftsmanship, but my eye is drawn to the extensive flooding. A survey of water aspect ether seems to have disrupted the area's natural balance. One of the clue told me that an ancient city of Scala now lies at the bottom of a loch. Although I state the obvious, it was not always so. The city's submerged state is a result of a calamitous flood, not some architectural quirk. In other words, if one sought a faithful reproduction of the Skallic civilization as it stood in the 5th Astral era, replicating the subsequent flood would be completely anachronistic. Well, At least we have further evidence of ethereal abnormalities. Onward to the next ruin. I can follow some people for safety. This new start area. Should be easy enough to get to. If I'm able to gain a few levels from these, it'll increase my safety. What's that? Aurora Mirages. Thanks, I've just got one more ether shard to acquire. Bunko! I haven't gone so far as to get the best. Message of prayer. Are you the one to end its reign of terror? I messed up. Something tells me we ought not linger here. Thankfully, I was able to examine several ethereal flows en route. Something has sapped the area's earth-aspected energies, leading to a decline in the purifying potential of the soil, and a veritable mold invasion. Now I understand that the lost city of Ampidor is likewise riddled with rot. Yet I find it difficult to believe those mouldering forces could sweep as far as here. Not only is the North Horn isolated from the rest of the Isle, the occult crescent itself is miles away from the nearest port. Besides, if those false spores had somehow spread here, I would suspect the entire region to be infested. At least we are beginning to glimpse the sheer extent of the environmental decay. 'Tis fortunate the nearby ethereal currents were still somewhat detectable. On that note, I suggest we take our leave of these streets before we ourselves spout mouldy growths. More ruins await. There. House comes turnstile by social houses and has left a trail of destruction in its wake. May cooler head prevail. Ah, the Hydra! From I can get that middle out. Ooh, treasure. Compare guardian. Yeah, I can't see the little bit click in here. There's a critical encounter somewhere. Oh good, it's easy to reach the gate. Oh, it's just there.
I should probably eat food while I'm in here.
Ooh, I've been overtaken by sabotage. Look at me, I'm glowing. I'm a glowy girl. And I'll just pop this. Anyway. Back to there. On this occasion, I scarcely need to examine the confluence. It's all too clear the vicinity is being subsumed by the void. In ancient Mac, mages would infuse their ceremonial chambers with astral aspected ether to facilitate their summoning arts. But let's not to imply the city was overrun with summoned voidheads. If this settlement lies in such a state, it can only mean one thing. Well, I've now seen enough to support my hypothesis, and I imagine Kitmaran will wish to hear of it too. Let us return to the camp post-haste. You know, I watched the archive head back to camp from up here. He was threading his way through packs of feeds with surprising grace. The archive seal continues to crumble. Phew, that was quite a journey. I'm not sure I'd have made it without you. Now, all the ruins we saw exhibited ethereal abnormalities. The Nemean remains now float skyward due to excess wind energies, and the skellic structure was inundated with water, while the Ampidori and the Makai remains are beset by earth and astral aspected balances, respectively. I also sense that the area surrounding the camp has been parched dry by an excess of fire aspected ether. In short, the ethereal balance of the North Horn is completely collapsed. I believe the architect used the region to model the impact of such drastic ethereal changes. The ruins here met a similar fate to their Eorzean counterparts. To what end the architect conducted this experiment, I do not know, but these conditions stem from excessive use of ether in accordance with each civilization's unique history. Perhaps disrupting the flow of ether to the Tower of Magic was part of his plan then. Not that I have the foggiest idea why he'd want to do it. Nor have I. To jeopardize precious remnants of the fifth astral era in this way contradicts this isle's very purpose. Regardless, if your theory is correct, I'm afraid we'll have a difficult time tracking down the tower via ethereal flows. Though the fact the pavilion exists at all ought to provide some encouragement.
I.e. suggesting there might be an ethereal node and a means of activating it after all. I love a good mystery as much as the next fellow, but we're practically drowning in the bleeding things. Anyway, before we get to solving them, I reckon we ought to take stock of what we gleaned so far. Nah, I'm not going to make it there in time. What in the world happened to Isle during my century-spanning slumber? I have nothing to add. Catamaran is pondering another problem. I ordered the crew to continue investigating ethereal currents in the area. While they're roaming around, I thought we might consider the mystery from a fresh angle. We've established that the occult crescent is a museum of sorts for the fifth astral era, right? But here in the North Horn, these relics and ruins were deliberately meddled with, seemingly in the name of replicating later calamities. Why so? Fortunately for us, there's someone right here who ought to know. Iris, why don't you tell us a little about your master? As previously stated, I'm here to observe, nothing more. How about revisiting a conversation we've already had then? You wouldn't begrudge me that, would you? When we first met, I asked the archive whether he'd summoned you. Do you remember that? You were adamant the wizened little wretch hadn't. Were you speaking truthfully? Indeed, that much was true. That much? In that case, it's fair to assume Iris's master is the ultimate source of wisdom on the Isle. The architect. Now my understanding is that a summoner and their familiar are usually bound by an ethereal flow. Do you reckon we can leverage that to reach the tower somehow? Iris isn't the only familiar issue. I suppose she isn't. We came across a fair few familiars while roaming down south, none of them particularly pleasant minds. I'm sure the Northhorn has its own fair share of summoned creatures. Inspecting the ether of any one of them could further investigation. I might add that the denser the ether, the more information we stand to glean. Of course, such familiars tend to be rather more formidable. Come to think of it, when I passed through the forest during our previous excursion, I spotted a large winged creature with a crest of green feathers. Perhaps you could seek them out. I'm guessing he means the wooded area north of the lake. Either way, sounds like a job for a resident fiend feller. Make sure you hack up a chunk of them for us to examine, you hear? The trophy of which Catamaran speaks can be obtained from a specific ritual encounter in the forest to the north of the lake. Speak with the expedition advisor should you wish to learn how to participate in critical encounters. These big dangerous fiends often control a swath of territory. Once you're there, it's just a matter of waiting until they show up to hunt.
Don't forget to bring back a sample as Kitmarang requested. We shall need some physical remnant to examine the creature's ether, you see. There are countless familiars besides me on this isle. I know it's up there. But right now I need to gain levels more than anything. I don't think I gain anything when I help someone else.
Follow them, their peoples. On the plus side, my cannoneer's almost max level as well. Oh, you! Nippon familiar is what the night is an instant match with open air sky. Not a speed per thing, but a double speed per thing.
you. Tomato.
chocolate. Suggested the sorcerer's closed out and back in everything again. Only death was featuring the truth. There's a blind spot.
2 plus Earth. Execute. How do I change my phantom travel plan? Changing phantom jobs. Set the character icon on the occult present HUD to open phantom jobs. Ah! Let's see about... Only there's a gate that appears up there. an ancient curse, this everything should be not extinguished intervened before no alien remains.
so difficult to target people sometimes. But I think I'm going to stop there for now and have some food and then continue again after food. So I've got 20 of each of them and 30 of them. So that's good. Let's have a look here. Companion. Picnicker's Bargain, that's the one that we got. Even an adorable like bonnet on your chocobo. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Love you all. Mwah. Bye for now.